Hello, welcome everyone to The Distraction here on Fightful.com. It is Movie Review Tuesday. Joseph, I feel like it's been 5 years since we
Yes,
reviewed a movie.
yes. And after this, I wish it was six. Don't you? I wish we were in a year ahead. Jeremy, I need to apologise, don't I? Before we get started here, do I need to just get everything, all the cards on the table? I have failed us as a unit. I have failed us as a film reviewing team. Last week, which was actually 4 weeks ago, but was released last week due to technical difficulties, I had decided that we were going to take a new path, didn't I? I said we were going to be real reviewers. Do you remember this, Jeremy?
I do,
I
unfortunately. I
changed
do
our
remember
brand.
this.
Yes, we got analytical, we got critical, and here we are with River of Darkness, which I'm going to up front make this clear to everyone is the worst film I've probably ever watched in my life. And I don't think I'm being hyperbolic or like I think you can agree with me. This is one of the worst films ever made. So I apologise. This is my fault. It's actually my brother's fault because he found the poster and thought it was funny, and I also thought it was funny. But it is my fault, professionally speaking. So I'm sorry, Jeremy, and I'm sorry to any of our fans that over the last 3 weeks decided to watch this film. I am terribly sorry.
This was technically my pick, and I picked this because you alerted me to it, and I was like, oh my god, Kurt Angle, Sid, Kevin Nash, like this has got to be just outrageously hilarious and bad. And then I found out Glacier was in the film. It's like, my god, like look at this cast of TNA and WCW superstars here.
Yes.
And it wasn't good. It was not good. But by the way, your hair looks amazing. It's very
Yes.
long. I think you need it cut, but it does look
No.
amazing.
I'm going AJ Styles after like a year and being like, no one has noticed about my hair. That's where I'm at, right?
Okay.
That's where I'm here. I mean, it's flowing. I wish I could have just covered my eyes with it today. That's what I wish when I was watching this film. You know when you described this film and you was like Sid, Glacier, I did it again. I got excited again. I've already watched it and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. This is the least fun, but you couldn't give anyone those pieces at their disposal and be like, make a bad film and have a less fun product than this. Would you agree? This is the worst possible outcome.
It was so boring. So like I texted you. I said, "Oh my god, Glacier's in this movie," and then like half an hour later, I was like, "That's also the pace this movie moves at."
Yes.
It is just a nothing film. Absolutely nothing. It opens with this lady just sitting there and telling us about death or something. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
checked out almost immediately. I was like, "What is going on in this movie?" And then we go in the past. Kurt Angle's in this film. Kurt Angle is allegedly the star of this movie. I swear to God, this movie was shot in like 3 different segments. This proves to your theory of that these movies are just remade all the time and we just don't know it. Kurt had like in some scenes he had a beard, in some scenes he didn't have the beard. I swear he had hair in one scene. It was all over the
Man.
place. Just all over the
I
place.
felt so bad for him here throughout the whole thing. Kurt's one of the most talented people in the history of pro wrestling, and he's definitely the worst actor I've ever seen. I'm sorry. Everything about it, his entry shot into the film, the way we meet Kurt Angle's character, is like he's walking towards something, which is already a loss, right? Because poor Kurt, he's hobbling around. He looks so defeated and broken. And then it's time to start delivering lines. And boy, the things quickly fall off. My notes here, my first note is, I'm so sorry, Jezza, 2 minutes in. 2 minutes, I was apologising by a note. Okay, so let's talk about this plot-wise. So we start with this woman, which you mentioned. I thought this woman died 10 minutes later because I didn't pay attention to who she was. That is not what happened. She comes back like an hour and a half later, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no,
Okay.
she comes back. I mean, the movie is only at an hour and a half. She comes back like an hour later.
Are you sure? Are you
Yeah.
sure it's only an hour? It felt like at least 6 hours. But
That's
okay,
fair.
I get you. Yes.
Yeah, she comes back an hour later in the flashback, and you realize how she's tied to everything because they're going on this river to hunt the gist of this story is that there's these zombies that are just going around town and killing people. That's pretty much what
Yes.
it is. They're coming out of the river, they're killing people. By the way, this movie was made in 2011. Why does it look like it was shot with like 1980s film roll? The
Yeah, I
the
think that's
quality
me
is
on
so
1980.
bad.
Yeah, it's one of them things where as soon as you start, you're like, oh no, this is not supposed to be seen by anyone. This is like a private This is bad. Why have we done this? Yeah, I mean, that particularly impacts our professional wrestling pals that are the zombies in this film. The makeup department, I feel, hindered them. How did they not even get any fun Sid moments out of this?
I mean, Nash and Sid are literally, they're just zombies who have no lines. Like, you just see their faces, and then they kill. You see them maybe twice, 3 times the whole film.
Yeah.
Like, they're not
Nash,
even...
He has that scene, at least, Nash, you know, where he confronts Angle. Right. It's like, at least that's kind of fun, I guess. They don't even get that with Sid. How do you not give Sid any dialogue? It's like his thing that he says things funny. What you do? Why Sid if you're not going to let him be Sid?
I feel bad. So I feel bad for Glacier. By the way, this movie got 2.1 stars on IMDb, and I feel like that's very generous. I don't know who rated this more than... Like, somebody had to give this, like, a 5 or a 10, jokingly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Kurt Angle.
I feel bad for Glacier, because he was the best actor in this film, and he was opposite of Kurt Angle, because Glacier is jealous that Angle was the sheriff, became the sheriff or whatever, and he doesn't even get on the poster or anything. You got Nash and Sid with their no lines and 30 seconds of screen time. Glacier's carrying this damn movie, and he can't even get on the poster.
Yeah, it is important for us to know, Jeremy, that as much as I have just been very mean about Kurt Angle, the actual actors in this film are so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I can't... This isn't a case of like them trying to bring Kurt up and him just not being able to act. He can't act, and he's surrounded by people that are equally incompetent. The only difference is he has another profession of which he's elite at. So this is not on Kurt. I'm not blaming Kurt. There are scenes in this film that you watch and you're like, that can't have been the best take. There's no way that's the best version of this. There's so many of them.
Do you think?
As far as
do you think they did multiple takes? I feel like they were just like we're just gonna get this movie over with.
The scene in which the guys are at the bar and they're like just talking about the crimes and stuff, and they're like, the sheriff don't know what he's doing. He's honestly like, unwatchably bad. You have to look away from the screen. Like, it's terrible. So as far as plot, Kurt is the worst like investigator of crime in the history of the world. Would you agree with this?
I don't know why the sheriff is doing this investigation. Is this
it's
like
pretty big? Pretty big crimes.
Yeah, like
you know,
like these are like legit full on murders and stuff,
yes.
And they just got a sheriff. I feel like the sheriff is just there to like keep peace in a town, right? Not investigate horrific murders. So look, the town, that's not Kurt's fault. This is the town's fault for trusting this man.
Here's the thing. I'm with you. Your point is logical, but unless I'm mistaken, he spends his whole investigation just walking around with pictures of the crime and being like, what do you know? What do you know? Yeah. Just going out the field. Do you remember anything about this? Do you know what this word means? Please help me. Do you know anything about religion? Anything about spirits, souls, demons, gods?
He's asking
devils,
all the right
anything.
Questions, Joseph.
He knows nothing. He can't even answer. When the guy goes to him like, are you religious? He's like, well, I went to church, but I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I do believe in spirits. Do you? And he's like, evil spirits. He goes, oh, evil spirits. Like, he has no clue. It's like he's an alien. What's happened? Why is he on this case? Why is he in this position? What has happened here that have led us to this point? That's the film I want to see. I want to see the prequel. Patreon.com/River of Darkness 2, the prequel. That's what I want.
So we're making a prequel for this film instead of a sequel. Usually we do sequels. Oh man,
there's no sequel to be made.
No, that's true.
You need to go back in time.
We're changing the game. We're changing the game here with our
Chad
prequel.
Gable is going to be our lead as young Kurt. That's what we're doing.
Who's opposite Chad Gable? Who's playing the Glacier role? Can we get the Goon? I feel like we gotta get the Goon for this.
Sure. Yeah, sure. That makes perfect sense. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
You are correct, by the way. Glacier is the best. Like, he's actually almost passable in this, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's almost like a real actor at times, which there's none of in this film. So that is impressive. I'll give him that.
I'm looking at the IMDb DP page. The plot keywords for this film: sheriff, revenge, river, 3-word title, and bad acting.
Factual. 100% true.
Look, all of those are true. I'm not disputing any of them. I just like that those are the plot keywords. So the plot of this film is just bad acting.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think that is a leading theme and motif during this film. So the film, once they establish what's happening, which isn't really a lot, right? Like you said, I mean, it is a lot when you think about it.
It's a lot, but it's all over the place. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing religion. Like, why are these murders happening? Well, you got to investigate this person and why she came to town 50 million years ago and how she was religious. But then this other person is there too, and then you find out at the end, the grandfather raped somebody, and then it goes on. Yeah. There's a lot happening in this plot. None of it makes a lick of sense.
So the idea was that she had lied about a rape, wasn't it? And then that had led to the three brothers being killed.
Yes, I think so.
But then in the end, we're supposed to believe it was a real rape.
And it was her grandfather that did it.
Oh.
That's what I got out of it. Because, did you not see this? Oh, Joseph, this was maybe, look, I could be misremembering this movie, who knows. This was the big plot here, though, because she shoots the man on the boat. They're about to hack him up and everything, right?
Yeah.
And she shoots him. And this is when I texted you, this is the greatest film of all time, because it cuts to this woman, and she delivers this line so awfully, so awful. She delivers it, she just goes, "That was my grandfather." And then it cuts to her...
Smash car.
Yeah, and then it cuts to her sitting in the park again. And then she's talking, and she's like, "Yeah, I killed him because he raped my mother." So I took from that her grandfather raped her mother.
And pretended it was the other three guys?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how to comedically comment on that, so I'm going to leave it there.
I could be 100% wrong. Look, if you watch this film, let me know. Could be wrong. This is what I got out of it.
The final scene for me was just, like, I couldn't focus on anything but Kurt, because he was, like, standing still, but appeared to be off balance. He was, like, teetering as he just tried to look in both directions. Poor Kurt, man. I felt bad. Okay, so here's the deal. So we established that deaths are happening and Kurt is confused. And then, for about an hour, we cut between Kurt asking people about religion and actual death scenes.
Yes.
That's the film, right?
Yeah.
Like, we meet people, they die, cut back to Kurt, like, wandering around, like, does anyone know anything about death? At one point, he says the quote, "If there's anything I believe in, it's the existence of an evil soul." This line is the only thing Kurt says that's longer than like 4 words in the whole film.
That's true.
The rest of the time, he's like lead guy. You know, he's the guy who's answering the phone for him. Are we assuming he was inserted into this film because they knew Kurt couldn't do that? Them phone conversations are like jarringly bad, but they would have been worse with Kurt, is my assumption. I don't know.
That makes sense to me. They clearly did not trust Kurt in this film to do anything. I don't know. Didn't Kurt do like 5 different movies at one point? Like, he went to this was his whole thing for going to TNA, right? He's like, "Oh, they're gonna let me do movies and stuff," and he had to take time off of his TNA run because he had to film these. Let's look at this. Like, we don't have a lot to talk about with this film, folks. It's very bad. It's a bad. I feel like we've explained the plot. We've said everything. You know what upsets me the most is, like, you look at this because you picked this film because your brother sent you this poster, and I saw the poster as well, and we were both just like, this has got to be horrifically bad, and it was, but for different reasons. Kurt is dressed up like a CIA SWAT agent in this poster, and he's got this like gigantic, heavy artillery gun, and I'm thinking, like, when I see this poster, I'm thinking, oh, Kurt is going to hunt these motherfuckers. Like, like Kevin Nash said, I did assume like these guys are the killers and stuff, and Kurt is coming here to just hunt them down, blasting through people. Basically the They Live movie that I wanted, the distraction version. He is gonna just go blasting people. Instead, Kurt is just in like Halloween sheriff's costume. I don't know if he uses a gun once in this film, and he's just going around asking questions of just like, hey, what do you know? Do you know religion and stuff? Like, he is not a badass at all in this film. He's the dumbest person in this film.
Yes.
This poster is an outright lie.
would you agree that the character is supposed to be like actively simple, or is that just Kurt's performance? I'm not even trying to be mean. Like, he seemed like they were trying to present him as being super dumb to me.
I think it was both. I think it was
Okay.
what was the film? I guess it was No Holds Barred. Where it's like they may have had one idea, and then once they saw how it was going, they're just like, oh yeah, we've just got to change this whole thing and just make it. We've just got to make him be a simple character because otherwise this ain't working.
He like the most he does. For the most part, it's just like him walking to crime scenes, and then they'll do like a shot of his face as he sees the left scene. And he'll just be like, oh. that's all Kurt does. He just goes, oh, God, it's terrible. And then the most mad he gets is when Glacier has taken things into his own hands, hasn't he? He's just, he's out there, he's going to take them out to the brothers, the ghosts of these brothers. And Kurt is like, what are you doing out there? That's illegal, And that's it. That's Kurt's big stand. It's Kurt's final stand. It's just being like, it's illegal to throw someone off a boat,
They didn't even show his badge or anything. I guess they knew he was the sheriff, but come on now. Have some authority in it.
He could have done something. He should have hit someone or angle slammed someone. I don't know. Anything, dude. I don't normally, grin at the wrestling move in film deal, but in this, it would have been much appreciated if Kurt did an ankle lock or something in the middle of it. If Kurt put an ankle lock on a zombie, I'd have been all in.
He did.
I don't know. This is very sad.
He did a bunch of films, by the way, during the so we did this movie called Endgame. I don't know his role, how big they were in all these. We've got Endgame, Dylan Dog, Dead of Night, Warrior. He actually had a role, right? That was like a MMA wrestling.
He was like Fedor.
Yeah. Death from Above, Sharknado 2. That sounds like something we should review. Not Cool, The Last Witch Hunter. I really think Kurt had legit. How did he get cast in so many more films after this? How is that possible?
No one watched it, I guess, right? I don't know.
I mean, that's fair, but I would see this film and just be like, and if I saw Kurt Angle on the call sheet, I'd be like, no, just pass, just no.
The thing is, would you describe Kurt? I'm not talking about this current version of Kurt that comes out now, but 10 years ago, Kurt wasn't a bad wrestling actor, right?
No.
In wrestling terms, he was fine, wasn't he?
I mean, at his peak, he was amazing.
Yes. But this must have been in transition to the guy that was GM a few years ago. Because that guy was a lot more the one we saw in this film.
Do you think Vince saw this movie and that's the direction he gave Kurt for the GM role?
A leader with no idea what's happening. Do you know how much better Raw would have been if it was just Kurt walking up to different wrestlers and being like, what do you think about religion? Huh? Devils? Demons?
I feel like, look, this is the exact role Kurt played when he was in. Remember Corey Graves got those text messages? This is when it was revealed that Jason Jordan was Kurt's son. This is the exact role Kurt played. He's like, what do you know? What are these text messages you've been getting? What's going on here?
There's not one moment in this film which he has an answer for anything.
No.
Everything is it could be either. I don't know. He's told at one point, please tell me you remember what this is. It was you can go down a river of past or a river of darkness. There was 2 options he could do. And he comes back 50 minutes later and he's like, well, I looked at the past. End of dialogue. No more. He learned nothing. He just looked at it. I don't know what I meant. He goes up to 25 old guys and he's like, do you remember these? Anyone know anything about this? He knows nothing. I have no clue. I honestly think it was supposed to be one thing. And then when they heard Kurt doing his deal, it was okay, Kurt's now going to be dumb sheriff. Unfortunately for him.
I
but
believe
there's still
this
more than what Sid and Kev get, so,
Yeah, Kevin Nash and Sid got nothing. When we do the prequel, we'll cast Gable. I guess we're going to get the Goon. We're going to get Nash and Sid, and we're going to utilize them how they should be utilized
100%.
in this film. Not how they were utilized, but how they should have been utilized. Because, yeah, we can do so much more with Kevin Nash and Sid, because they didn't get anything in this film. Just nothing. Honestly, that is the biggest disappointment and... disappointment. I had another word, but it slipped my mind. That's the biggest disappointment. Yeah, travesty. There you go. Yeah, there you go. That's the biggest travesty of this whole thing. You have Kevin Nash and Sid, and you're just go be a zombie and kill people. Don't talk. Just you get 30 seconds of screen time. You just you sort of make faces, but it's all caked in makeup that no one can tell anyway. Like this was their big idea for them.
Yes.
I don't get it.
There was that one. The worst part is, Jeremy, the best part of the film is Kevin Nash's one line, which is when Kurt like shoots at him or something, and he's like, "Already dead," and then Kurt stabs him, and he's like, "Oh Jesus, he's in agony." I didn't understand that. I thought he was already dead. I didn't get why a bullet.
Dead people still have feelings. Like they still have. I don't know how that works actually. I don't. Never been dead and then been stabbed.
So, no, not done that one.
No, hasn't happened.
I need to tell you something else. Okay, so I've been known on this program to buy films to watch them. I did not. This was completely illegal. I want to make it clear. However, my version of this film, unfortunately, was like out of sync, the audio and the image. So for the last hour of this film, like Kurt's mouth would move and then I'd hear the dialogue, and I think that may have actually broken me. Like, I think I may never be the same. I feel as though my life has been changed, and it may well have. This film being the film that happens to was not the best thing for my brain. It was very hard. I actually had to follow along. It was very tough.
I think that actually happened to me with the Marine one that we reviewed. Wow. I think that happened. This one was fine. This is free on Amazon Prime, by the way. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can watch this film. That's how I watched it.
That's very sad. Yeah, that's incredible. What about the scene in which the poor young Tiffany is out and she gets murdered by one of like Kevin Nash or Sid? We don't know who it is, and her mother calls. Oh man, this was tough. I mean, she was like screaming down the phone, and then Kurt's pal was just like, "What time did you last see her?" She's like, "10. I think she's dead." And he'd be like, yeah. I'll talk to Sheriff Angle about this and get back to you, sir. And he just hangs up. I thought he was going to be involved in the crimes. He was so bad at his like acting role. I was convinced he was doing an insincere gimmick, but he wasn't. He just was bad.
The mother had the most emotion of anybody in this film. At least at least she was like concerned about what was going on. Everybody else is just like, yeah, people are dying and stuff, but you know, whatever. Things are fine. Where's my beer? I felt like there was a lot of asking of where's my beer in this film.
Yeah, because so what was the deal? So Kurt goes in and he goes, "Can I have a coffee?" And Glacier's like, looks at him and ignores him. And then we find out that Glacier wanted the sheriff job.
He wanted to be the sheriff.
And Kurt is like, "We all know you're mad because you wanted to be sheriff." And Glacier's legitimate response in the film is just like, "Oh, come on."
Glacier?
No more.
Glacier is like a cook, right? He's wearing an apron. Like, how are you qualified to like be sheriff when you're a cook? I don't understand how that works.
I don't know. By the end of the film, I was wondering if I was supposed to like Glacier and think Kurt was a fraud, or if Glacier was a dick. I honestly don't know. To this moment, I do not know whether I was supposed to be like, yeah, Glacier was just a bitter like loser. But he seemed to actually be caring and listening to what was going on. Kurt was just like walking around with pictures and being like, "Dead bodies, what do you know?" Tell me. Like, I'm on Glacier's side here. Are you?
Yes, I'm 100% on Glacier. At least he was like trying to take action and stuff. Like you said, Kurt's just going around and...
Yeah. Glacier's plan was a little bit crazy.
Yeah. But... I didn't say his action was good. I just said at least he was trying something. Kurt is thorough, I guess. You know, he went to a lot of people, asked a lot of questions. Look, all I'm saying is if you're having all these murders in your town, I'm not sure the guy you want investigating it is the guy who beat out a fry cook for the sheriff position, okay? I don't think that's a good way to investigate murders.
If there is no Glacier, if he moves out of the town when he misses out on the sheriff role, honest to God, if Kurt was left just on his own, this would go on for years. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of deaths would happen, while Kurt was just like, "I've just started reading the Bible, I'll get back to you soon on that one. Till then, just stay inside, okay? I think there's zombies out there, but I'm going to get religious first before I decide on what I think about ghosts, ghouls, zombies, all of that stuff. Just let me figure this out for myself, okay?" Truly, it is something. The thing is, the problem is we're making this sound like it's fun now, but it isn't.
No.
It's really painful.
Yes.
Don't watch it. It's terrible. But when you're doing a podcast, I guess there's enough insanity to be fun. But good Lord, please don't watch it. It's awful. The longest hour and 20 minutes of your life, easily. Terrible.
Yeah, it's not fun at all. We're very funny. That's why we're good at we have our own podcast. If you're as funny as us, you can have your own podcast as well. But no, if you actually if you think like, oh, they make it sound like it's just hilarious. No, it's an awful film. I tried to watch this film. It ruined my buzz, Joseph. Like it did. Like I smoke before most of these films because that's the best way to enjoy them most of the time. Mm-hmm. This one, like 20 minutes into it, it was just gone. Like it was like I didn't even have a buzz anymore. It's just like it's just gone because of this film.
Was this before or after OKC's win? You watched this film?
Oh, I watched it. I watched part of it. So I watched part of it in the middle of the day. I don't smoke while I'm working. So let me put that out there. Let me make that clear.
Yes.
I don't do that. So I watched part of it then, and then after OKC's win, I might have had a victory smoke, and then I tried watching it again, and it was quickly gone.
Wow. So even with OKC joy on top of it,
yes.
You still no way.
No.
Wow.
And then I had to watch Raw, and I should have just stayed that way for Raw because that show was awful as well. But yeah, even with the point god high, and the non-point god high, this film and Raw just out the window.
Yeah, I would have rather switched the cast for Raw with this. Like Raw would be better if it was Sid, Kevin Nash, Glacier, and Kurt Angle.
Yes, 100%.
Easily.
Yeah.
Imagine just being given them 4 guys and being like 3-hour show. Good luck. Like, what do we do there, Jeremy? What do we start with? A Kevin Nash promo about the business? A sit-down interview with Kevin Nash?
Oh, we 100%. Look, an hour and a half of that is just Kevin Nash and Sid just interviewing each other. Yeah, I don't care what they talk about. Just like a Kevin Nash Sid just like talk show. And then you can bring out Glacier can squash Kurt Angle in the main event. That's my main event. Just Glacier beating Kurt Angle.
Try and get Glacier over one last time.
Yeah, exactly.
One last roll of the dice.
Well, you got to make stars here. Kurt, he can lose. He's fine. We got to get Glacier over.
When did Kurt Angle stop wrestling?
When did he stop or start?
Stop.
When was this? WrestleMania 35 against Baron Corbin.
That was only last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, this has been long. It's been a long time. This has been a very long. It feels like I haven't seen Kurt like around for an awful long time. Do you remember the match in which Kurt just like almost died against Drew McIntyre and was like, I will do anything to make sure Drew McIntyre looks good in order for him to do nothing for the next year? Do you remember when he did that?
Yeah.
God bless Kurt Angle. I want to be clear to everyone watching this. If somehow there is a Kurt Angle fan who for every day of the last 9 years has typed in on YouTube, River of Darkness review, search every day for a decade almost, and they've finally found us. I want to make this clear, I am not anti-Kurt Angle, and I appreciate your viewership. Unfortunately, he's very bad in this film. He's good at almost everything else, but this is you can't look past it. Sometimes, Jeremy, we do the thing where it's like, yeah, they were good in this, and it's like wrestling good, you know? But not one moment is he wrestling good in this film.
No.
He's offensively bad. Like, please stop talking, Kurt. Get off the screen. It's really embarrassing. It's that bad. Sad.
They didn't even give him, like, any wrestling stuff. Like you said, could we not angle slam somebody? Like, just something.
Yeah.
Give me Kurt Angle doing a takedown or something so I can be like, oh, yeah, great double leg. You know, high crotch single, something like that. Just give me something. Or you'd be like, yeah, Kurt did something of use in this film.
Yes.
Just nothing.
It is fun, though, that Kevin Nash has like all this makeup on his face and his hair is still just like TNA Nash. Just like grey, just sort of a little bit uncouth. I mean, I guess that works for a zombie. I don't know.
Yeah, it works. I thought it was fine.
Young when they died.
I thought he looked like a White Walker from Game of Thrones. I don't know if you've seen that show, but like that's okay. That's kind of what he looked like. He looked like with the gray slicked hair and everything. I thought he was just like a white.
Is that what you think they were going for?
I have no. I think what they were going for was, what's the budget? Here's all we can do.
I just think it's great. I imagine Dixie Carter being like, "We're doing a screening for this. Forget tonight's tapings. settle down. River of Darkness is here. I'm imagining like who was around in TNA in 2000. This was like the All-Star roster where like every wrestler that ever made any money was in TNA. And imagine them all just settling down in the Impact Zone to watch this film on that big screen. Don West in the corner shouting. He probably had left by now. I don't know. But still, Don West should have been there. What a fault that is. Glorious.
I hope this actually happened. We will extend the invitation to Kurt Angle to come on and talk just about River of Darkness. A very short show. You think Kurt would just get offended and be like, what? No, I'm out of here. Like, Kurt, did you ever discover religion?
I would definitely not bring this up to any of the people involved in it, other than Glacier. I think you could say to Glacier, like, I became a fan of you via River of Darkness, you were so good in it. Other than that, no.
I would 100% talk to Kevin Nash about this film, because I feel like Nash probably, one, I don't know if he remembers even doing this film, but if he does, I'm sure he would just like bury it himself. He seems to be pretty self-aware of things that are bad and whatnot. I mean, maybe not always in the wrestling business, but certainly outside of the wrestling business. I think he would be like, oh yeah, that was a good paycheck, but that film sucked.
I mean, I think he's far too intelligent to think this film is anything but like embarrassingly bad.
Yes.
Right? Like, he's smart than that. Here's my plea. If you watch this show, I'm not telling you shouldn't get Kevin Nash to do a cameo for us in which he does a full review of River of Darkness. Because from what I can tell, he does pretty lengthy cameos. You'd have to write anything beyond Joe, Jeremy, the Distraction, full review of River of Darkness, in brackets, please feel free to join them for a watch-along sometime soon. That's my pitch, okay?
What is Kevin Nash's cameo charge here? Let's look this up.
Whatever it is too much.
How dare you? Kevin Nash
is... Look, man, it's cameo. I don't know. What do you want me to do here?
$105.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it's only $5.99 to chat with him. You can just chat with Kevin Nash. How long does the chat for? I have no idea. I've never used Cameo in my life outside of the time that I sent Alexa Bliss one. But I don't know what a chat is.
Isn't chatting better than just getting a video that you can't respond to?
Yeah, that's what I would think.
The chats must suck. They must be terrible.
How does this work?
Just doing a tutorial on Cameo now.
I don't know. Maybe chat. I click on chat. It says $5.99. Want the full Cameo experience? Download our app. I don't want to do any of this. I want to chat with Kevin Nash. That's it.
Well, what would be your opening?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Chat with celebrities. Cameo Direct is our exclusive app feature where you can chat with your favorite celebrities, let them know you're a big fan, and send them fan stickers or just say hi. So is it like $5.99 per message or something? I bet that's what it is.
Good lord, that sounds terrible.
I bet that's what it is. It's like $5.99 per message.
Well, Kev should up the price on that. That's not saying anyone wants to deal with, right? Like, just no need. Okay.
This is now just turned into a how does Cameo work podcast.
This is just a plea now for you guys to actually, like, because I'm not doing it. I want to be clear. There will be no Kevin Nash cameos on my Joe Hulbert fund in here. No way. But if you also have an interest in River of Darkness or enjoy our comedic stylings, you can feel free to ask him for said review. That's all I'm saying. Nothing more.
Pull some money together. There's plenty of Distraction fans out there. Pull some money together. If everyone chips in a couple of dollars, you can make this happen for us. We don't ask for a lot.
I mean, it's not crazy cameo money, right? It seems to be. But you know, Big E said on the R-Truth game show, which is a program I'm not exaggerating here. I watched that show. I watch it more religiously than any other WWE show. Yeah. And I'm not even doing a bit. I watch it every time.
You should. Because that show...
Said, yes, go ahead.
Oh, I would say that show actually lets people have personalities and stuff. That's why I watch Up, Down, Down, because that's actually really good programming.
It's very fun. And Big E said he has done 1,200 cameos.
I believe it.
And that is just... If you were not sold on Big E before, what are you doing now? 1,200 cameos. That's insane. His price. Maybe we should just make this a cameo show. Should we just do cameos every week? What if the film review just becomes the fans buy us a cameo and we review said cameo for an hour? Can we do this? Is it a thing we could do? Has this ever been done before? Is this groundbreaking? I want to know.
I don't know if it's been. I've just seen the cameo gets posted online and stuff. But yeah, you know what? We can start this. If people want to buy cameos from wrestlers, doesn't matter who it is. It can be Big E, it can be Kevin Nash, it can be Alexa Bliss. Spend however much you want to spend. I know there's various tiers of pricing and stuff. If you don't want to spend $500 on Alexa Bliss, you can spend... Who's probably got a cheap cameo? We're going to out cheap wrestler cameos here.
Glacier.
I wonder if Glacier is on cameo, actually.
Very good chance he's on there for like $20. I'm going to be honest here. Very likely.
Glacier. Oh, the Sandman is on there for $30.
Wow, that's strong.
Get the
strong options here.
Fred Ottman Tugboat is there for $30 as well.
Oh, that's cash. Here we go. Now we're rolling.
Glacier's not on there unless he's under Ray Lloyd.
Oh man, that would be inside baseball.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Glacier. We can get Christopher Lloyd. We invited him on the show to talk about Suburban Commando.
That would be strong.
He's unavailable though. He's unavailable. So I don't know how much.
He must have known. He saw it coming.
Kurt Angle is on cameo for $100, by the way. Kevin Nash is charging $5 more than Kurt Angle. Tremendous.
I think, in fairness, Kevin Nash would definitely do a better cameo.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Kurt would do one of those ones like where he's clearly reading the message directly next to his phone. Like, right? Like it would be one of those deals. Jeremy, would you like to know next week's film before we go into celebrating Lou Doll?
No, I'm looking up wrestler cameos still.
Okay, sorry.
Raven is $50, which is about the price he charges for interviews as well.
Wow, direct shot inside baseball, all of it in one there. That's incredible.
Oh my god. I tried to interview him at WrestleCade, and his like manager, whoever it was, is like $20. And I'm like, dude, I just want to interview the guy. Like, I'm not paying $20 for this interview. He's like, do you know how much people charge to talk to Raven? Apparently $50. But I'm just like, nobody is talking to him. Like, so apparently nothing right now. And he's like, it'll be $20. It's like, cool, we're not doing this interview then.
I'm kind of with that, though. Like, I don't want to do interviews, so I'm going to pretend I can charge people. That's kind of good. That's actually a good idea. I'm pro-Raven. I take Raven's side on this.
How dare you?
That's wrong.
The Godfather is $50. Buy us wrestler cameos, everybody, and we'll review them. That's what we're getting at.
Yes, we'll do an hour review of a 30 seconds cameo. Yeah. 100%. I will do this. Next week's film.
Yes.
Jeremy.
What do we have?
Hang on. Do we have to rate these films? What do we do?
Oh,
do we rate first?
Yeah, we do have to rate them.
This is a 0. This is the worst film ever.
It feels like forever since we've rated something. They Live was the last thing we reviewed, and that was like 4 weeks ago. This
should actually be a minus, but I don't. I'm not going to do that. I have my 1 to 10 scale. I sense not 1 to 10, 0 to 10 now. This is the 0. This is the floor of my scale moving forward.
All right, River of Darkness. What's your rating, Joseph?
0. No, I refuse any idea that it should be higher. I think you're going to give it like -2.25 stars.
I just realized this. I gave They Live -2 stars for the bit because it wasn't a distraction film at all.
Wow.
But River of Darkness, it gets it gets a dud. We'll just go dud. It can't be. It's a far worse film than They Live, obviously. But for distraction purposes, I got more out of it because I didn't try to take it serious, or you didn't try to take it serious. I
didn't have much choice.
Yeah,
I didn't have much say in that this time.
I've screwed my own scale rating. No one knows what my actual scale rating is, but yeah, it's 0 stars. It's a dud.
So, I think you'd agree with me that after the last few, I guess the last month now, we need to steady the ship around here.
Yes, we do.
We need some consistency. We need some just sort of solid role players to come in and make shots and get us through these games. There has been one guy that I've been able to go to during these moments. There's been one guy I've been able to turn to and say, okay, I think he's bad enough at acting, but good enough at making terrible films that I can enjoy him every time.
I think I know where you're going. I'm very excited.
So we are headed to 1996 as Hulk Hogan stars as 2 men, an alter ego performance here in The Secret Agent Club, a 90-minute action comedy family film.
What?
Yes, he's one man with two, like he's pretending to be someone. We get two Hulk Hogan performances in one motion picture.
I've never heard of this film, first off.
Yes.
And so I've never seen it. I thought you were going with the Three Ninjas movie. And I was very excited. I'm even more excited. Two Hulk Hogans?
Yes.
Oh my
disclaimer,
God.
Big disclaimer. My brother who recommended we watch this film also recommended we watch that film.
Oh.
This one is not on my hands, folks. I'm making it clear now. I tried to... We were going to take all the glory on River of Darkness, right? I thought we'd uncovered something.
Yeah.
No one knew it. In fact, they did know about it. It sucked, okay? This could be very different, but I'm making it clear early. It is not my glory nor my failure. I'm just simply picking it for the concept. We need some we can trust Hogan to make us laugh with terrible acting, can't we?
Yes.
He's terrible at this stuff. But not in like a Kurt Angle, oh, that's kind of sad. Like, he throws himself into it and sucks. Very different.
Hulk Hogan thinks... I don't know where he was. I mean, I know he's in WCW. But, like, did he still think it was actor ambition in 1996? I would think this was probably filmed in, like, 94, 95. So, probably... Because Mr. Nanny was like actor ambition Hulk Hogan, and that film was tremendous. And so if we're getting kind of the same stuff from Hulk Hogan here, yeah, I'm for it.
The question is it that, or is it I need an excuse not to do my WCW dates? Here is a film. Is it that, Hogan? There's two different things here.
But I need Flair they want me to put Flair over this time, and no, don't know about got this movie movie to film, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. I've got to get in character for this, Eric. I'm never gone all year. I can't never gone all year. Got to get myself in role. But I'm glad that this has been uncovered, and I really hope it isn't yet another disappointment here, because listen, River of Darkness, we may have made it sound fun. We can't continue this way, Jeremy. We cannot. I mean, I wanted to rebrand us after They Live. Clearly, this was not the film to start that, and now I've given in. I'm back to just terrible films that could be funny. However, we need this to hit as far as comedic value, because otherwise, we're going to become a full film review podcast. You know that, right, Jeremy? We're going to go full, like, breakdown of plots and stuff. It's very scary.
Oh, we're doing full film reviews and full cameo reviews here in the next couple of weeks. So we're proving our diversity here with what we can do on this show.
True, that's exactly what we're doing here. And I want to be clear, very much consider what you do here, folks. I'll be very worried if someone sends me that they have already purchased a cameo this evening. Please don't do that. Think about how bad a decision it is. Mull over the fact that we spent 20 minutes just discussing like the concept of cameo 5 minutes ago. Think about it. Trust your instincts. Do nothing stupid. I will not take any responsibility. I've made my point clear. No. Jeremy, would you like to do the same, or are you encouraging this?
No, I'm encouraging this. If you want to buy us a cameo,
that's your call.
Buy us a cameo, everybody. We will we'll review it. We'll play it on this show. That's going to take some, I guess, some tech work from me, and I'm not a fan of that part. But we'll play it on the show. We'll review the cameo, and if you look, I'm not going to tell people how to spend their money. Okay? Sure. If that's what they want to spend it on, that is their choice. But I will encourage them to spend their money on it.
Okay. I'm encouraging them to think twice, but as usual, the beauty of this show is we represent both sides of the argument. Just like last week when we were talking about the complexity of They Live. Always two sides here, Drew.
You should have wore your sunglasses this week, because you had them on the other week, but we had no video for the They Live. No one will ever see the video of Joe wearing sunglasses the entire show.
Gone forever.
Yeah.
Forever gone, lost in distraction history. Now I have a question for you. Okay. I don't know how long we're into this show.
We're 43 minutes in.
Okay. How close are you to securing Brett Brown as our consistent, constant third host on this show? That's my question.
I'm not gonna say I have like direct contact with Brett Brown. That'd be pretty cool. I can confirm I've emailed parties to try to talk to Brett Brown. I would imagine he's not going to come on this show as his first, we should, the distraction should be the new Talk is Jericho, but for like NBA coaches who are fired instead of WWE guys who are released. Come on our show, just and talk about basketball, talk about wrestling. I don't know if Brett Brown is a wrestling fan, but come on our show and let's talk about this stuff. We'll do your shoot interview for you.
Yes.
I've emailed emailed people though. I don't know if how good our chances are, but I've emailed people.
I would suggest they're pretty bad, but I don't know. My concept was a show in which I'm assuming Brett Brown has never seen wrestling, and the show is just him learning about wrestling and speaking like very philosophically about the art form. That's all I wanted, really. And we'd just be like, "What did you think of this match between the clown and the big bald man, Brett?" And he'd be like, "What it presents is, a battle of brawn, mind power," and we just sit here and like, nod our heads like, "Yes, exactly right." Exactly right. And then we end with one basketball question every week. But after like 10 years, we'll have it all figured out. Trust me. This is my concept. I'm working on it. Send this to whatever Brett Brown forum you get. Because I'm making an official pitch right here. That's what I want moving forward. I
wish I had known your pitch before I sent these emails. Because my email was just like, hey, I know Brett is kind of busy right now, but we do a wrestling podcast that also talks about basketball. Was wondering if Brett would have time in the coming weeks to talk to us. It was something very formal like that. If I would have known that I could have gone with, hey, don't know what Brett is up to, but we'd like to get him to review this match between the clown and the big bald man, I think that would have gone over much better.
I'm just imagining Brett like talking about tag team chemistry and being doing all the hand motions and it would be glorious.
Joseph, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to wrestle right now. You just go in there, you get in the ring, you don't have to worry about anything else, and you're just allowed to go out there and wrestle.
The ring bell is your ticket to freedom, isn't it, Jeremy? That's when you're allowed to be unleashed fully in the thing that you love most, right?
Yeah.
What is this? It's just a game. It's just entertainment. But we mean more than that, Jeremy. Oh, man. He's good. I miss Brett already. I already miss him.
It hadn't even been 24 hours.
I know, but like his post-match press conference was tragic. People literally like, what are you going to remember most, Brett? Like, fun, wasn't it? Poor guy sitting like 10 minutes after the game. Oh, it sucks. But you're in a different place now, Jeremy. Last week, we were both in very dark areas when it came to the National Basketball Association.
Yes.
Now, lights are shining, aren't they? It's starting to look brighter. CP3's hitting mid-ranges, staring at D'Antoni. Amazing stuff. Things are changing.
I love Chris Paul. What a guy Chris Paul is. Look, I still don't know if they're gonna win this series. It's 2-2 right now. Unless people are listening to this on Wednesday night or Thursday night. It's 2-2 right now. And I don't know if we're going to win this series. I still don't fully like our chances, but this team is just, they're great. They're real fun. Everything that happened in the first two games, I don't know what it was. They weren't fun. They figured it out in the last two games. At least maybe not the last two games. They figured it out in the fourth quarter of game 3, and then that carried over into game 4. But regardless, it's 2-2, and Chris Paul he's feeling it. He's feeling it. Shea is feeling it. Schroeder is feeling it. Lou Dort locking up James Harden. Things are good. James Harden is knocking over hand sanitizers.
Some of his turnovers late in game 4 were like legit insane, weren't they? Like, when he tried to get like a cut in Gordon and just like launched into the first row.
Yeah.
Sorry, what? And then he got like a rebound and just, man, as someone that thought they were legit dangerous, D'Antoni and Harden as a combo always managed to remind me, like, they're not doing anything, man. Like, they're going to find a way to lose games, right? Like, that's just what they're a weird team. Weird guys.
It's so funny, the discourse between, like, the fan bases and stuff. Like, when the Rockets were up 2-0, like, Rockets fans are very... I don't know how Rockets fans, like, don't learn from history. Like, Thunder fans are very... We're very... we know what's coming. You know what I mean? Like, we have no optimism. Like, we just know, like the past couple of years, like last year with Paul George and everything, we knew his shoulders were screwed. We knew, like, after they won game 3 and it was 2-1, most of the fan base is like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're losing this series. Like, it does not matter. After we won game 3 this year, it was the same thing, and the pressure is way less off this year, but it's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, they're going to lose. Rockets fans are like the complete opposite, where they were up 2-0, and it wasn't even like, oh, we've won this series. It's like, well, who are we playing in the finals? Like, who's beating this team? Like, we're doing this without Russ. Like, people said, oh, the Thunder are going to challenge us and stuff. We don't have Westbrook. So the Lakers, They lost a game to the Blazers. The Clippers, look what they're doing. You know, the Jazz, the Nuggets, nobody's taking them serious. Rocket, we're going to the finals easily. At 2-0, Joseph. And it's like, do y'all not learn from history at all? And game 4 was like peak James Harden of have like a really great first quarter. He was great. He was fantastic in the first quarter, by the way. And he was good to start the third quarter. And then by the fourth quarter, he is so gassed that he's just like it's James Harden is great in the ISOs when there's the threat of him driving and then he takes the step back. The fourth quarter, that threat is just gone. He's just going to stand there, dribble 300 times, and then take his 30-foot jumper, and they all miss horribly. And it's like, this is what James Harden has done for 4 years now, and like nothing is changing.
I think their fan base is that way because, like, this sounds so silly, and I understand that. I don't know if you've heard, Jeremy. Apparently, it's a make or miss league, is what I'm told.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, in the Rockets' case, it is actually bonkers. Like when their 3-pointers are hitting, they look terrifying. Well, as soon as they get cold, they're like the worst basketball team you've ever seen. Like they have no, especially about Westbrook, right? Like Gordon's the only guy who's really driving at this point. Harden seems content, especially as you said later on in the games. He's just shooting his threes. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. What I will say is I'm very excited for Doris Burke to secure her hopes for a podcast with Lou Dort, who she loves but appeared to not know his name for much of the game. But would just say it wrong and be like, he's the best player in the world. So what, Mark Jackson? Amazing. Great stuff.
It is true. I've said that many times about the Rockets, about the make and miss league. Like, they are the ultimate, like, make or miss team. Like, when they're fighting, because they started the third quarter. It was tied at halftime. They started the third quarter 8 for 8 from 3. 8 for 8. Mm-hmm. And OKC's offense went pretty dry. And it looked just like, oh my God, this is the scariest team in the world. Like, nobody's beating this team. And then they proceeded to miss like 23 straight threes. And it's just like, this team's garbage. Like they just don't, they are who they are. And that's to their advantage and to their detriment a lot of times.
Yes. It does also feel like OKC are starting to figure out, like, with all the switches, what matchups work. Like, when Schroeder gets Covington on him, like, it's a bucket, basically. Like, because Covington's a great team defender, great at helping and, like, directing, but he's not particularly good at guarding a guy like that one-on-one. You know, like, he's just not. Schroeder was getting to the rim. I don't know. I honestly don't know who's going to win. This is the series we expected, though, a close series. Yes. Right? The first 2 games, everyone was, like, alarmed. The Adams thing remains, like, I don't know what you do there. You probably would know better than me.
I think you just...
it's got to be done.
You got to play them in shorter bursts is basically
just crash
what it is. Yeah. Just crash the board. Because he is helpful. It's not that he's not helpful or anything. It's just he shouldn't be playing. I think he played like 25 minutes in game 4. I would even cut that down by 3 or 4 minutes and play Noel a little bit more. Play Baisley a little bit more and play Gallinari more at the 5 because OKC's at their best against the Rockets anyway when they're playing faster. Because then the Rockets, their switches don't work as well. Because Paul, Schroeder, and Shea, they can all get to the... Paul, not quite as much, but Paul can get to his mid-range spot whenever he wants. But they can get to the basket, and they're quick thinkers. They make quick decisions. Adams is... he's not a playmaker. His offensive IQ just isn't great. I think Noel is actually a little bit better in that regard. But yeah, they play better when they play faster, and you're not playing that fast with Steven Adams. So he's just better in short, like almost Boban-esque of just, play him 15 minutes, let him go all out, and let him crash the boards, and he can get you a double-double in 15 minutes. So I think that's what they have to do. They probably won't do it.
How, as a fan, do you feel when Eric Gordon takes one of those, like, emergency threes from, like, 10 foot behind the three-point line? Because as a neutral, I am like, I can't imagine what this is like as a Rockets fan when he takes that shot with such confidence and it front rooms.
I feel,
wow.
I have PTSD from 2016, okay? I just assume any 3 taken, especially from like a good 3-point shooting. I don't even think the Rockets are like a good 3-point shooting team. But like for a team that just shoots at that high of a volume, I just feel it's going in. Like, even last night when the Rockets were super cold, I was just like, oh my God, this, like, you just think to yourself as a fan, they just can't keep missing this much. And I'm pretty sure this is how the Rockets feel as well. It's like, all right, we've missed 25 straight. Ain't no way we're missing 26 straight. So let's just shoot this one. Like, I feel like that's how they feel. And like, that's how I feel as a fan as well. It's just like, they're not missing this one. And then sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But hey, look, if Eric Gordon and James Harden want to keep launching 30-footers, go for it. More power to them.
It's something to see, man. They're a very interesting team to watch, and by interesting I mean sometimes painful to watch. But they are. Sometimes they'll decide they're going to be a defensive team. It's like, whoa, what happened here? And often Harden will like make that decision. You must have seen this.
Yes.
Like sometimes Harden will just be like, I don't really fancy it, guys. Should we just leave it this time? We'll just not play. And other times he's like getting involved, and everyone follows that. Have you got any hot takes about the rest of the playoff bracket we've seen so far? Obviously, my pals have gone home. Who else has gone home? Brooklyn, right? Or what?
Yeah.
The guys who are wearing the Brooklyn uniform, right? Like, Boston, Toronto. So when I filled my bracket out, I had Boston in 7 because I just like their talent more personally. After watching them sweep my team, it should tell you a lot about what I think of my team. That I thought they were kind of underwhelming. I thought they were like, they're fine. The Lowry deal is big, right? I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, if Toronto doesn't have Lowry, that's a huge miss. Like, Van Vliet's great, but you obviously you want better players on the court. Yeah. You want as many good players on the court as you can get. And Lowry is like that sneaky triple-double guy. Like, he's not like Westbrook where it's like in your face triple-double and you just know that's what he's going to get and he's going to go for it. Lowry can just get it and no one really pays attention to it. And plus he plays defense and just runs everything. I do wonder with Boston and Philadelphia. Philadelphia, for all their flaws, they can still present some matchup problems. And I wonder mindset as well. Boston probably just figured, yeah, this team's not really that much of a threat. Are we really just going to wear ourselves out trying to beat this team, we don't need to really show everything this series. Let's beat them with our B plan, and then we'll break out our A plan against Toronto. I always wonder how much gamesmanship goes into that stuff, and obviously the mental mindset, the mentality that goes into that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely games in that series. I mean, honestly, definitely 3 and 4, where it was the Sixers were hanging around because Boston hadn't really decided to win yet. And then at some point, okay, Tatum's going to now just score on every possession. That's the end. I agree with you. That series is very interesting. I mean, both those teams are interesting in the sense of what they'll do with the Bucks. But the Bucks and the Heat is the Heat has so much shooting, right? Yeah. And the Bucks are happy generally to let teams shoot for that would be something to watch. Definitely.
I think both of those matchups are going to be great. The West, I mean, look, the Blazers got their one game. I think most people kind of figured they would get their one game just because of the firepower they have and everything. But anyone who had been paying attention knows that the Blazers just weren't a good team.
Stops. Yeah. No stops at all.
They just weren't a good team. And so the Lakers will get the Thunder or the Rockets. I still like the Lakers regardless of who they play. And then maybe the Clippers. You still got to think the Clippers. Can we slander Paul George, by the way? Let's slander Paul George. Because he might have a decent game 5, and then by Thursday I won't be able to get my slander off. Right now, I can get this slander off. Paul George is the most overrated superstar I've ever seen. Look, I might be a little bit... I'm not even bitter. We got Shea, Gallo, and 18 picks in the next 5 years for Paul George. I'm very happy with this trade. The thing with Paul George is he nicknames himself Playoff P, which just don't do that. Don't give yourself a nickname. And that's then tough. As bad as Playoff P. And then he proceeds to just shit the bed in every single, a big wet one, as Kobe Bryant would say. A big wet one in 90% of the games after he gave himself this nickname. Just awful. And it's always the excuse of I just got to shoot better. My friend and I had a joke last year and even the year before. We would text each other all the time, just Just wish Paul George could shoot better. And this was pre-playoffs. Like after he would have a bad game, it was like, Paul George just needs to shoot better. Just wish Paul George would shoot better. Because he fell off a cliff after the All-Star break last year. And he's like, shoulder injury. And game 1, he plays great. Game 2, you saw him all taped up with the cyborg shoulder, ice on his shoulder and stuff. It's like, oh my God. He says he's healthy. He's going to say his shoulders are fine. You see all that ice on his shoulder, he ain't fine. And then he's sucked in every single game since then. And whatever. Bless Paul George. Have fun in LA with the Clippers, where he's going to opt out after 2 seasons and then go somewhere else.
It's alarming how often in the last 3 games, he has been out there with Kawhi, and it's like him and Marcus Morris are effectively like doing the same thing for the Clippers, and it's like, this is not what we envisioned. You know, like, you know, when this was whole draw, it was like you got those 2 star wings, and then they'll do the rest of the stuff. And I know Morris was added later, but like the close of that epic game 4, and it was incredible game 4, right? The closing stretch was great. It was Kawhi and Luka going back and forth, and it's like, is Paul George out there? Like, I don't know, man. He's got to figure, because I don't know what that team does. I mean, I don't think they're going to go out here. I still think they're the best team as far as like lineup wise. But if we were just to imagine they went out in the first round against Luka in his first playoff series without Porzingis for some of those games, I have no clue what they do at that point, right? Because teams have seen the
blow it all up for the rebuild for the next 5 years when you got no draft picks.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
I don't know. I think everyone has said all year like the center position for them is a little bit like flimsy, but Zubac's been fine.
Would you trade Embiid for George?
No, because I actually like Paul George, but at this point, there is such damning evidence against him. And like, if it was him and Simmons, he's the one who's going to be taking all the big shots.
Yeah.
I would rather not live in that world. I've seen enough of it now. And I like Paul George, but I saw where you were going with that, and I was very concerned immediately. I would not.
You need shooting, Joseph. You need shooting. Yeah. Paul George shoots well, unless it's in every game except past game 2 of the playoffs.
Look, I'm not even going to joke about this any further, because there's a very good chance something this terrible happens. I'm aware, so I'm not going to say any more. But there are some things, but for the most part, if this team actually sucks, I need to just stop, like, even thinking about how good teams are going to be. Because this team, on paper, to me, looks at the start of the season like, man, they've got a little bit of everything. They look great. And I don't think I can exclusively blame Marcus Morris if they just come crashing out. I don't think I can. I'd love to. I don't think I can. So I'm not sure. We'll see.
If they crash out, I mean, they've got to take a hard look at the Paul George stuff, because this is not what they signed up for. They've got to take a hard look at Doc Rivers too, because I mean, look, the coach is always going to be the first guy to get blamed. Kawhi is like the one guy where you're like, yeah, he's fine. Everybody else is where you're looking at, they're probably available. I think they'll still end up winning this series, and I think the Jazz are. I'm still not sold on the Jazz. I think this is more of the Nuggets just aren't very good, and they're banged up, and they just have no perimeter players who can defend and score. Like without Harris and Will Barton, like they don't have any defenders on the perimeter. So you're left with Murray, Michael J. Porter, and or Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic, and like. You ain't building the defense around those 3 guys. So I'm not completely sold on the Jazz, but it is very alarming for the Clippers. I love it. I hope it continues this way. I hope Luka destroys them tonight. Bless Luka. My God, the bitch-ass white boy is killing them.
Honestly, like, it's very easy to get caught up in hype. I actually feel bad for people that are still like cynical about Luka. Like, it's time to embrace. Let's have fun. This is greatness. This is great stuff. Enjoy it. Don't be the guy who's like, yeah, but maybe a little bit on the defensive end. No, just stop. Have fun. Enjoy this. Because I felt like when game 4 ended, I was like, that's a game they're going to look back on. Like wherever he goes, they'll be like, that game, man. Because he's banged up too.
Yeah.
Insane. He's so good. It makes me very sad.
They look
yes.
dead in that first half. Like they look completely dead
Yes.
in that first half, and then Luka just brought him back, and then
Boban, bro, gives him a spark.
I
Brings that energy.
told you Boban's the best player in the league. I don't understand how Boban just doesn't average 30 and 30 for an entire season. I do understand how he doesn't, but his per 36 numbers have to be insane.
Trey Burke and him being like actively playable is very sad to watch. Like it's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's difficult. Trey Burke, like, Brett Brown hated Trey Burke. I thought he was going to fight him at some point. He would just pull him. Like, I think the Sixers fans thought he was pretty good, but he never played. He liked Neto more, which is a decision to be discussed another day that will never come. Okay, but I'm happy for all those guys. I'm with you. Let's go Mavericks. This Paul George stuff is fun to watch play out. I'm sorry to any Clippers fans, but it just is. It is.
I'm not sorry to any Clippers fans. This is what you guys wanted. Thanks for all your...
LA way, bro. LA way, Jeremy. We're taking it.
Thanks for your draft picks. Thanks for the one season of Gallinari. Thanks for the complete career of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Appreciate all of that.
You're winning. Look, you're in a good spot here right now. Let's just hope by the time we record next, he hasn't swung. I hope that hasn't happened. Right now, this is triumphant.
I'm so this entire season I felt very zen. Like it's been nice winning. Yeah, it's been nice winning these games. I still get into the games and stuff. I realize it's this season they weren't supposed to be here this season. Yeah. Like they were not supposed to be in this spot at all. This was supposed to be a rebuilding, almost tanking season. And I'm not worried about this at all. All I want to see is like the young guys like Shai. Shai's been great outside of game one. Dort's been a complete gem. And then Baisley. Like those three are the future. And they've already delivered some great moments in the playoffs. So they can lose to the Rockets. That's fine. I'm not worried at all. This is the best I've felt about a playoff run probably the entire time I've been a Thunder fan.
What an incredible way to close out the River of Darkness review. With a truly enthusiastic and optimistic outlook. That was great. I'm happy for it.
Which isn't good because every time I get optimistic about sports, my team always loses. So that's all right.
I think you're right to be that way right now, though. Right? Yeah. Not just because of the score in this series, but like overlooking the whole thing. It's gone pretty great, right? Like you can't argue with it. I'm with you.
All right, folks. We'll be back on Thursday to talk more basketball. I think some wrestling stuff is happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're doing wrestling.
Unfortunately, we have SummerSlam to talk about. Payback to talk about. They did a pay-per-view and then they got another pay-per-view. What is going on?
I'm not doing a feature. I want to make clear I'm not doing a payback feature.
No way. My next question.
No Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler features, folks. I'm not happy.
No Keith Lee feature? You got a lot of material on Keith Lee for this past month.
Yeah, I've heard, but I do not know right now, and I'm not going to try and know, okay?
Keith Lee, bask in his reimagined glory?
As usual, I'll watch Raw 12 minutes before coming on the podcast and be like, great show, loved it. As usual. That's what I do here. Okay?
Follow Joe on Twitter at JoeHulbert5. Again, we'll be back Thursday with a regular episode of The Distraction, which is pretty much this show. Follow me on Twitter at JeremyLambert88. I did the NXT TakeOver post-show. Go listen to that with myself and Alex Pulowski. I'm doing the Raw show every Friday. Check that out.
The Raw show every Friday.
Oh, the SmackDown. What show? I don't know what these shows are, Joseph. They're all the same,
That's
right?
Incredible. What a sell that is, the Raw show every Friday.
They're all the same, right?
Sure.
The 2-hour version of Raw on Friday. Okay?
Exactly. That's the win. It's 2 hours, right?
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week to review another movie, and we'll be back Thursday. We'll talk to you then.